Hello, and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people who make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, community leaders, entrepreneurs, artists, and entertainers and learn from their successes, their failures, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, Nancy Brook, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today, it is my pleasure to have as my guest local artist and I'm going to say entrepreneur Riley Wolery. Welcome to the show, Riley.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you are somebody who loves the arts. You're not just an artist, I would say you're an art adventurer. So how did you get started in art?
Well, ever since I was little, my mom would probably tell you I had a pencil in my hand like before I could crawl. I always was drawn to the arts no matter what the form. So
Drawn, no pun intended?
yep. And both sides of my family are artistic too. So we grew up at a young age just to really appreciate art too. So I was really lucky on that end of things. And then as I've gotten older through school and everything, I just wanted to learn more about different techniques and then also to just want to make a career some way, some form of art, whether it's creating art myself or promoting art.
Oh, that's very interesting. So when you started as a child, you're drawing, and then what was the evolution like?
So when I was younger, I hated to use color. Like I never wanted to use colored pencil, marker, anything like that. It was always just strictly pencil. And my mom, I think I was in third grade, she actually enrolled me into an art class. She said not that he needed the lessons, but just to get more exposure. And that instructor, she did kind of push me to use color. Because I explained to her I could always visually see in my head how I want to look, but I could never translate it on paper. And when I was little enough, I would just get upset and then literally throw the paper away and start over. So I went through a lot of paper growing up.
I bet.
But she ultimately told me, like, if you make a mistake, it's easily hidden or fixable. And I'm the one creating it, so it's not like anyone else would notice the mistake. So
Right.
I just kind of learned from that.
So almost a bit of a perfectionist then when you were young. Yeah. So what kinds of things would you draw?
Draw people a lot, nature scenes a little bit. As I got older, I started to shift from people and more focused on like animals, just because people, it's very hard you got to get the features just right, especially if you're trying to draw a specific person. So animals are a lot more forgiving because if you're drawing a moose, then you don't have to worry that it's not the exact moose you're drawing per se, you know?
Right, the moose isn't going to be mad if you get something a little wrong.
Yeah.
And so this happened through the years, and then you told me before the show that you really have gotten into impressionist painting. So what was that like? Because that's vastly different than drawing realistic animals, people, nature scenes.
Yeah, so I say I'm an impressionist only because I like to use bright, bold colors in my work. It might be a picture of a bear or a trout, but the color scheme's going to be very bright, and some people I've noticed say it looks kind of like Carol Hagen's pieces, that kind of vibrant feel. So for me, when I am painting those pieces, it's kind of like I'm not focused on the overall subject. I'm more focused on how the colors are blending.
Right.
And then I go back and kind of paint on or add on what I'm wanting the focal point to be.
Oh, so you are almost just getting the color sense right before you even worrying about the shapes or what else is in the painting. That's really interesting.
Well, and I feel like I'm trying to not necessarily mold, but as I'm adding the color on, I'm trying to shade it just right to where it kind of is creating the piece.
Yeah.
So I'm in my head, I'm kind of working backwards from the back forward. But
Huh. That's really interesting. I've never heard of that way of doing a piece, so that's intriguing.
yeah, so
So you had this desire to do art, so you graduate from high school,
yep.
right? And then what happened?
Oh, all sorts. I've done multiple job fields. I've worked in the tattoo industry. I worked as a bartender. I've worked in the oil fields. Like I've kind of done all sorts of things, but eventually I just decided I needed to try to find something that's art related or art driven, because everybody has a Monday through Friday job, whether they love it or hate it. I trying to push the boundaries. I want to make this my job, but also trying to juggle a Monday through Friday job can be a little difficult at times. So it's just kind of buying my time, I guess.
Right, but you just must really have a passion for it because, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't do like an art and career on the side. I mean, because, you got your free time, you want to hang out with people, whatever you'd like to do for entertainment, but that takes up a lot of time if you're pursuing the art, and plus you're pursuing kind of the art community and
Yep.
helping develop that in our city.
Yeah, I'm trying to just restructure the art scene a little bit in this area. I mean, nowadays, especially with AI, it's very hard for artists, I feel like, to be taken seriously, because the average person I know can't afford fine art, but at the same token, I feel like nowadays, if you're buying a piece of art, it's not that you only like the piece, but you're also paying for the time it took for the artist to create it, because it takes nothing for somebody to create something from AI, and to me, there's no emotion, there's no connection. It's just kind of empty space to me. So buying an original or even a print off of somebody, that has a lot more meaning behind it, and I think is more valuable, whatever the amount the piece is or whatever the amount of time it took for the artist to create it.
So you mentioned you want to change the art scene here. What is your vision? I mean, where do you think we are now as a community, and what would you like to see happen?
Sure. Well, I like that we do Art Walk here in Billings. It's just I wish it was more, not repetitive, but more regular, I guess
Oh,
you could
sure,
say,
sure.
instead of every other month. I know it's a lot for community members to come out and, of course, to be involved and people to take the time to go, but in my mind, I'd like to see it almost weekly, like just a lot more involved, because there's a lot of local talent here, and I just feel like Billings can benefit from that, because Billings is the city of the state, but there's nothing to really draw people into Billings. For example, traveling purposes, it's cheaper for people to fly out of Bozeman and into than Billings.
Right.
That's just the biggest thing that I can think of, but I just feel like if we could shift where Billings is kind of the art scene of the state, that can kind of bring in possibly more tourism, more people coming to local restaurants, breweries, etc. So I think it could be a ripple effect. And then if enough people come, then potentially get like state or even federal funding or grants through the city to do more art installations or mural pieces. Like in my mind, I can just see it being a ripple effect to where it's bigger than what people are used to.
Well, what strikes me is I've been to several of the Yellowstone Art Museum shows, and sometimes they have astonishing artwork. And it surprises me that there aren't more people when I'm going in to see the art.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's, okay, there's me, and maybe an art walk night you'll get a few more people. But it just seems like it's a little bit undiscovered here.
Yeah. Well, and I've been told by other people that are older than me that the art scene in Billings was really big in the 80s. And whether or not that was true or not, I mean, a lot of people, my parents included, they'll say that art is a luxury and it's comes with having extra money. Me, I've always been the opposite. I've always felt that art is a need because for one, I just grew up appreciating it, so that's me, but I also feel like art is definitely impactful. That, I mean, we're products of our surroundings and who we grew up with and surrounded ourselves with. Well, the same is said for art. Like, what kind of art do you have in your home? That's something you see every day and every night, so art can definitely affect your mood, I feel like, or your approach to things. And it's not just stuff you hang on the wall. Art is everywhere. It's based off the cologne you wear or the type of clothes you want to wear. Like, it just...
Or tattoos. You mentioned
Yep,
tattoos.
yep.
A lot of people will put art on their body.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just... The whole art life translates art, or whatever that saying is. I feel like that is definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
So
when you say you want to have Billings become more of an art community, aside from more frequent art walks and installations you mentioned, what else do you think could help us have that renaissance of art?
Well, I feel like a lot of artists at times can get taken advantage of, and they don't know it, or at least are aware of it till after the fact. So I'd also like to see down the road, whether it's a business or even a college or high school, educate people that want to go into the arts, like educate them on negotiating a contract, negotiating copyright, and talking about what's a good deal, should I take this or should I not? Because the average person may not know this, but some artists, when they design a logo for a company, have to give up the art rights to it. So that company can do whatever they want with that imagery and make a profit off of it. So if someone's properly educated, they can know to negotiate or mention that in the contract, or just not take the deal at all.
Sure.
So,
well, I know I'm in real estate, so I work with a real estate photographer, and they always make sure you know that they retain the copyright. You are just using it for a single use. So you're saying even for logo design, which that never occurred to me, that you could say, okay, you can use this, but I retain it, and so then they couldn't modify it, change it, do things to it.
yep, yeah. Like I said, it just, some little things like that I've learned through experience or even just doing my own research, that something that the average person doesn't think about, or even some artists. So it's just something I want to address, I guess.
So, you hear the term starving artist, right?
Oh, yeah.
And obviously you still have to make money other ways besides art at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think people are just so gravitated to do art even though it doesn't pay the bills?
Oh boy, that's a good one.
Well, you think even to the masters. I
yeah.
mean, a lot of them died pretty poor.
Yep.
And they weren't discovered till after they passed away. Maybe it's the legacy they live for.
Yeah. Well, and I can't say for all artists, but I just feel like there's an internal desire to create. There's just something internal about it that is like, yeah, I worked an 8-hour or a 10-hour shift. I'm deadbeat tired, but Like for me, if I'm just got off a 10-hour shift and I get home and I'm deadbeat tired, but all day I mentally had this idea in my head, I gotta execute it. Otherwise, the next morning I'll have forgot about it and it's lost. So, because to create or to be an artist, you definitely have to have the ambition and the drive to create. It's not like reading a book where you can sit down and read at your leisure. It's when you're in that mindset and mode, you gotta drop what you're doing and make it happen.
So do you lose track of time when you're in the middle of a project sometimes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I can see
some
that.
days. There were times where I would start at like 10 o'clock at night and then paint until 6 in the morning and not realize it. Like it just,
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of refreshing, but then it's also like, well, great, now I got to get ready for work. So,
Put some water on your face and
yep,
let's go.
yep, pound a pot of coffee and off we go.
So you are starting to connect with other artists here in Billings, and you actually have your own gallery, right, that you are working on?
Well, I don't have an official gallery, but I do host annual art shows.
Okay. So Wolery Art, you don't have a gallery per se?
No,
Okay.
it's just a business I created years ago and then developed these art shows to kind of showcase. So the shows themselves aren't to showcase my work necessarily, it's just primarily to promote other artists and their work. Because me personally, I still have a Monday through Friday job, so I don't have a whole lot of free time to create.
Sure.
And then trying to juggle the Monday through Friday job and then as well as paint myself and juggle the art shows. I got to sacrifice one to gain the other type
Sure.
thing.
Well, there's a saying, you know, you can have it all, but I think you can have it all, but maybe not at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
At least that's how I look at it. So you are embarking on your 5th year of your art show, right?
Yep,
And this year
correct.
you're doing 2.
Yeah, so
So tell us, how did it get started? In 2020, you said, was the first year?
yep. So I don't want to say it was a midlife crisis, but
You look a little young for
Yeah.
life.
I was 25 when I started the shows, and I don't know, social media is a blessing and a curse, like keeping in touch with friends and family. And I was 25 going through social media, seeing past friends like, oh, I just got my master's, or I just bought my first home. Like it just seemed like everyone else had their life situated or figured out. And I, at that point, kind of felt like I was in a rut. So I just kind of mentally told myself I need to make something happen involving art. And it was kind of well, I've got money. Let's roll the dice, see if this works out. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then I can at least say I tried and on to the next venture. Because the first year I did it, it was all by myself. I funded everything. I got in touch with all the artists. I got a hold of the venue, like all of it, the marketing, ticket sales, and kind of just hope for the best, plan for the worst. But
So it's an art show where people can sell their art.
yep,
Okay.
yep. I don't ever want it to feel like a craft fair,
Right.
but it's
Like that idea, but
yeah, it's a one night only event, so it's kind of a not black tie event, but semi-formal. You get dressed up. It's a ticketed event. Artists are going to physically be there, so you get to actually meet and interact with them. Like I said, one night only. It's a classy event, but I also want it to be as relaxed as possible. Like I want people to enjoy themselves, not only participating but attending. And
right. So how many artists do you have this year?
So for the Bozeman show, I have 7, and then for Billings, I've got 13. So,
Okay, okay. So that first year, you put it all together yourself,
mhm.
and it must have worked because you
Oh
came
yeah.
back for year number 2.
Yep. Yeah, it was funny. I was home that evening, literally took my contacts out, like my adrenaline was going, but I was like just deadbeat tired. And I'm like, I gotta know if I made money or if I had made enough money to even pay the bills. So I quickly was going through the receipts, the money bag, all of that stuff, and I actually had a profit that year. And I was just so hyped and energetic that I called my parents and put them on speaker and was like, call me crazy, but I kind of want to start planning next year. And it just kind of took off from there.
Yeah.
And each year I've done the shows, I'd like to feel like it has gotten bigger with the number of attendees as well as the number of artists wanting to participate. I've actually had to turn away some artists because of the venue space that I have. Because I don't, like I said, I don't want it to feel like a craft fair, and I don't ever want it to feel so congested that there's not breathing room.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at, I guess.
Well, that's exciting. Your first year, you actually turned a profit. A lot of times events can be tricky because, especially with the space,
Oh yeah,
because the space is
crucial.
expensive, yeah, and they want their money. I
Yep.
mean, whether you make money or not. So you have to commit.
Yep.
Wow. And now you told me that you are from Montana, right? You've lived here your whole life?
Yeah, so I'm a 5th generation Montanan.
Okay.
Was born in Havre, grew up in Columbus, lived there for 20 years, and lived here in Billings for going on 10 years now. So,
Wow. Okay. So you've been here a long time. So what do you think it is about Montana artists that makes them different than like a New York artist?
So I can't really say, I guess. The farthest east I've been is Virginia.
Okay.
What I can say or recall being out there is a lot of that art is very contemporary.
Mm.
You don't see people buying paintings of buffalo and cowboys as much
Sure.
as you see here in Montana.
Sure.
Not saying that there aren't collectors out there, but as far as like seeing the public art, it's very sculptural, and some would even say abstract, or just not your typical art that you see in this area. The Montana Western art, I feel, has a lot more color to it, and a lot of times those pieces tell a story. But it can also go down the rabbit hole of being that art is subjective. I mean, there's some contemporary artists that can tell you a whole story, but it's just of a circle with a spike going through it, like it's simplistic to us, but to them it's a lot more detailed. So that's where the whole art's in the eye of the beholder gets a little
Right.
tricky. So, but that's just my take on it. So,
I remember going to the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and they had minimalist art, which, if you don't know, I mean, for those out there, if you don't know what it is, it's just very simple. So we saw an artist, I can't remember the name, but it was like a bunch of canvases with just a big circle in it. And then the circle was here, and then the next painting, the circle was here, and they said it was the artist's life work, and you're like, okay, I could do that.
yeah,
But it's like you said, there must be more to it than what I'm seeing. It's so simplistic, it looks like, why would I pay money for that?
yep,
But people pay a fortune for that type of art. So,
and not that it shouldn't be appreciated, but it's also,
Sure.
I mean, it's totally subjective, and it's also on how much a person's willing to spend on a
Right.
piece, because somebody that paints a piece like Charlie Russell might only sell it for $1,000 versus that piece you just discussed. They might sell
10,
it for
20, who
yeah.
knows?
So it's very much a gray area
So
on that.
did you hear, I don't remember the artist's name, but about the guy who had the banana,
Oh yeah,
and then the millionaire bought the painting and ate the banana? I mean, that to me is like so bizarre, but I guess that's art.
It's yeah. That was kind of cringing to watch. I mean, I would have had a lot more appreciation, I guess, if an artist, say, spray painted that banana and the duct tape and made it look like that. But I mean, it just, again, it's all very subjective, and
Yeah, he made a lot of money. Good for him.
yep,
And the other guy apparently didn't care about money, so
yep.
I guess that's fine. But it is interesting. And so, you know, what is the heart of art here in Montana? It's different than, you know, what you'd see in Paris or what you'd see in New York or what you'd see in San Francisco. How would you describe the Montana artist themselves?
For me, right away, I just think of there's a sky involved, like big sky country. I know that's kind of the state motto. And for me, I'd like to think that majority of Western art, whether it's just a landscape or there is wildlife, somewhere in there, there is a skyline. So I guess if I had to say anything, it would be that a skyline's kind of the signature imagery, I guess you would say, for Western art.
Right, right. Well, and a lot of artists through the years have really centered on their place in their art. I mean, I'm thinking of Georgia O'Keeffe in New Mexico, where she really was mesmerized by the color and the light and the sky there.
Yep.
So that's an interesting perspective, that you feel the artists here are influenced by the surroundings.
Yep. Yeah, because I kind of going back to you're a product of what you were surrounded with or by, whether it's the people or the environment you lived in. Us here in Montana, like, not that I don't mind going to Chicago or seeing those cities, but it is nice coming back home to Montana and driving an hour out of Billings and being able to see plains or mountains or go skiing, you know, like there's a little more freedom, I guess, and variety.
Yeah, that's true. Well, before we go, I want to make sure that everybody gets the information about your art event that's happening. So it's May 3rd, right, at the Northern Hotel.
Correct. Yep.
And how can they find out more about the event? So it's called Legacy 2025.
Yeah. So every year I do the show, it's always been just a single word plus the year. This year I picked legacy because I feel it is impactful. What kind of legacy can your artwork leave behind on people? To get more into that, you can attend the show and hear about it. But to get tickets, you can visit Facebook or Instagram or message or call me directly through my phone number.
And we've got your phone number up here.
Yep.
And then what time does the event start on May 3rd? I don't think I asked you that.
So the VIP portion takes place from 5 to 6, just a single hour. And then general admission is from 6 to roughly 10, but kind of whenever the event dies down itself.
Okay. So you can come after 6 and pretty much in that time range.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, it has been really fun getting to know you today, Riley. You are just a very interesting artist, Billings person. So thanks so much. And everybody, thank you for watching All About Billings, and we hope to see you next time.